Hey, it's Mika. Thank you so much for submitting your questions. I cannot wait to answer them. And a very special thank you to Romeo for having me on the show. So, the first question on my computer down here is from Rachel, who is from Westmont. Out of all the songs you've ever recorded, which is your favourite and why? You know what, it probably has to be a song called Over My Shoulder, which is something that I recorded after having a terrible week. I was 17 years old, I was still at school, and I wrote this song hiding in a little kind of cubicle at school, which we used to have these practice cubicles, and that's where I wrote the song, hiding from the world. And I went and I recorded it in the garage of a friend's house. He had a little home studio. And I had no idea that I would record something that would end up on my first album. And I just know, I did it in like 50 minutes, 45 minutes, and I didn't have time to record much. And I finished it, and then I listened to it, I was like, okay, this is the first thing I've ever recorded that I can say sounds kind of special. So, of course, it has a special significance for me. It's Over My Shoulder and it's from my first album. It's actually a hidden track. Katie from Doncaster. When will album 4 be released? Album number 4 will be released when it's finished. It'll be finished and released next year. That's the intention. No, I mean, that's what I'm working towards. It's literally about 2 or 3 days since the anniversary, the 1-year anniversary of The Origin of Love, which was my last album, my third. And so now I'm starting number 4. I've already written a few songs. I'm back at work after this crazy long road trip I've been on. My first proper holiday in like 6 years. It took 6 weeks with my dog and my friends, and we drove around Europe. And now I'm back at work. I'm in London, and I'm actually talking to you from my study in my place in London. Christine from Denver, I love Denver, wants to know what my favourite colour is. Christine, for real? You know, I don't know how, I don't really have one, but to tell you the truth, I always say I don't have one, but I grew up surrounded by girls, and I've got 3 sisters, and so in that case, I probably have to say my favourite colour out of reaction growing up was always blue. I insisted on wearing blue all the time. Blue and yellow. So there's that. I hope that's good enough. Jasmine from Cincinnati. Are you planning on touring the USA in the near future? I would love to see you again. Thank you, because quite frankly, touring the States is one of my favorite things to do as a musician, as a touring musician. There's, you know, firstly it's huge, and the audience is really giving and diverse, and it's just a pleasure. It's a real pleasure to play in America. The crowd is vocal and reactive, and you feel like a musician. You stand on stage, and 2 weeks into an American tour, I kind of sit there and I'm like, wow, this is what being a musician is. Actually, in Denver, I had an incredible experience. I was supposed to play for about an hour and a half. I played for about 2 hours and 20, and people were just calling songs, and I was playing them. In Washington, D.C. on my last acoustic tour, I didn't like the way that the sound was being amplified, and it was a synagogue that we were playing in. So I stepped away from the microphone and I told everyone to be super quiet. And I sang without amplification for about half an hour, and it was magical. I can't wait to do it again. So I hope so. Maybe next year. Maddie from Roseville. What would you do if you woke up as Eminem for a day? As Eminem for one day? I'd go and I would buy a plane. I don't know what I would do. I don't know how I would start. I don't even know how to get dressed. The problem is that probably by the time I'd actually get used to the idea of being Eminem, I'd be back to myself again, and then I'd miss being Eminem. Make some tea. Roxanne from Montreal. Do you sing in the shower? If so, what's your repertoire? I do sing in the shower, mostly when I'm nervous about something. Actually, I pretty much sing every time I'm nervous about anything, whether I'm in the shower or not. My repertoire? Rubbish. Rubbish that's not supposed to be. Actually, mostly it's rubbish that's sung by women. That's my repertoire for the shower. Federico from Genoa. What is your favourite song by another artist? That is the most impossible question. That's actually harder than what's your favourite colour. I will have you know. There's so many. From a De André song, who was also from Genova, to I've been listening to Carole King's Tapestry album, and I sit there and I'm like, how many great songs can you put onto one record? I listen to Prince's Purple Rain, and I'm like, how can you do this? Or so many. And Cohen songs, Tom Waits songs. As much as I'm jaded about the Beatles, because we hear them every single day, you sit down and you look at some of those songs and you think, wow, in the context of the time they were written in, these things are just mad pieces of genius. But then you listen to an Ella Fitzgerald song or a Nina Simone classic, and you're like, wow, that's pretty amazing. But it probably has to. My favorite song in the world has to be Nature Boy, which was sung by Nat King Cole. And there's an amazing story around how it was written, which you should just find out. It's worth finding out about. Elisa from Laval, what is your favorite TV series? I am the only human being, I think, left in the world that still watches Cougar Town. It's the best TV show that has ever been made. It's pure, sophisticated, well-timed gold. Comedy, television gold. And I like it very much. I actually tried to get a cameo on it, because although they pretend that they film in Florida, they don't actually film in Florida at all. They film in Culver City, which is actually where I've recorded 3 albums with Greg Wells. They film it all around, and that's in Los Angeles. So they actually filmed it all around the studio, and I tried to get a job in the coffee shop as a cameo. Not a cameo, but just like being the guy in the coffee shop that serves the coffee. I didn't get the part. Shilin from New York City. Where do you come up with the inspiration for your songs? Often in the shower, or in the bathroom, or on the loo, on the toilet. I mean, I don't know why, but no. I get it for a lot of ideas when you're in the bathroom. I don't know why. I think it's the intimacy of just being kind of closed up in there. Hope that doesn't ruin my music for you. Holly from Derby, depends. How would you describe your fans? My fans are pretty awesome. In fact, they're a mix of everything. I've got every type of fan, and you see that when you come to one of my concerts. I've got like fans that are 30, 40, 50, 15, 12, I mean, the whole mix, girls and guys, every type. And I don't know, I think my fans are a good mix of like silly and serious and musos and not afraid to like melody. I like to think that the perfect scenario is one when your fans are a reflection of you, because then it means that your music's communicating in the right way. And I think that I'm lucky enough to be in that situation, so I consider myself very fortunate. Francesca from Sez or Setzi? I'm not quite sure. Is that Setzi? Would you ever sing with a metal singer? I mean, I've said many times that one of my favourite things growing up was Marilyn Manson and his shows and his records, the melodrama of those records. I don't really know. I mean, I would do backing vocals or something. I mean, I'm not quite sure. Kate from Doncaster. What's your favourite time of year? Well, now, actually, autumn or spring. Because in summer, you get good weather and then you get bored of the good weather and then you want it to be cold again. You just kind of get jaded. You go in the winter and in the winter you get jaded of the cold and you just want it to be warm, you know? But the thing is about spring and autumn is that everything's changing every day and there's a reason for it to be unpredictable, and so they're the best seasons. Also, I think spring's the most creative, for sure. Anja from New York City. Where do you see yourself in 20 years? I see myself as the same person in 20 years as I am now. I see myself doing the same things, and I make music, I make things, I design things. I've got a design company with my sister and we draw things and we make stuff. We're about to launch a global swatch campaign, which is a collaboration where we've designed watches and made tons of things from artwork to applications for your phone. And so, you know, I see myself making things, making music, always making music, making melody, making drawings. And I think when you make something, you feel good, you feel happy, you feel like you have value. And there's nothing that can beat that. Nothing at all. Spending money, doing whatever, traveling around, still it's not as good a buzz as when you sit down and you make something out of nothing. So I see myself making things and maybe writing shows, a musical of some sort. Madeline from Hermanston wants to know, do I prefer blondes or brunettes? Now, the politically correct would be to say neither. I mean, not neither, but you know, yeah, either or. It has to be blondes. I'm sorry to the brunettes, of which I am one of. I'm betraying my kind. Henry from Calabasas. Is Mika your real name? If not, where did it come from? My real name is Michael Holbrook Penniman Jr. This is a little bit long to put on a record. Actually, my name is Michael because my father's name is Michael. But my mother hated that name. So the deal was when I was born that they would call me Mika. And my legal name would be Michael. But they would call me Mika. So I was Mika from birth. But for the traditionalist that my father is, he legally gave me the name Michael.